Don't you want to go where every comic's owned by a name?
Huh?
Even when the covers change.
Alright.
You want to be where you can see that us geeks are all the same. You want to be where the WeirDopes know your name. You want to see that you can do anything. It's okay. You want to be with the WeirDopes today.
Ugh, stinks. Whoa! Put it on his tab.
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday.
That opening still kills me every time. Put it on his tab.
Right.
Every single time.
Gonna have a
So
big
what's
old
up,
tab
Nope?
by the end of all this. Nothing much. How about you?
Plugging along. You having a good week?
So far.
So
About to
far,
get
so
better.
good.
Being Friday.
The weather is still insane up here. I mean, yesterday was a perfect example. We had blizzard, ice, hail, wind damage, and tornadoes all in the same state.
That's
It's
insane.
crazy. It is. It is.
Yeah, it hasn't been as drastic with the weather change, but it has been, like we had a day that was all rain and then a little bit of on-off rain yesterday. But for the most part, the temperature kind of maintained at least in the 50s, 60s, and today I think it's like 70 something. It's been steadily warming up today. So might be a hot week next week comparatively.
I'm sure it will thaw out by June up here. But then in June, I'll be yelling it's too hot. So I'm never happy. You know how it goes.
Mm-hmm. I do know how it goes. I work outside.
Oh, yeah.
I know exactly how it goes.
I know how it goes. I don't work outside.
There's no good time of year to be doing that crap. Well,
no.
springtime, fall's nice, but I mean, they're so short anymore. You ain't got no long, full seasons with spring and fall anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Seems like it
Don't get
goes
it.
from 80 to snow and then from snow to 80. It's like,
Yep.
okay, whatever. Somebody's got a plan, but it's not mine. Is there anything new and exciting happened this week for you?
Not necessarily. We got to introduce the dogs to a little bitty miniature puppy kind of thing
Ooh.
today. That was exciting. They didn't know what to do with themselves, so the one she didn't want nothing to do with it. The other one, he was a little bit more curious, but
as long as
they
they didn't
still
try
wouldn't
to
let him touch it.
As long as they didn't try to eat it.
No. Nope. They were actually really good with him, so I'm glad.
Now, are you doing this because you're thinking about getting a new puppy, or are you doing this?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just right. It was just her friend has a new puppy that she just got a couple weeks ago, something like that, and just she was like, "Well, I wonder what our dogs would do with dog this size." And
experimental time. I like it.
They're pretty friendly though. They're not aggressive dogs by any means. They're more curious than anything. So that's what all it was they were just like,
I got a hot mic here, people. That's funny. That is too funny. Not much new going on here. Just never knowing what the weather's going to bring or what it's going to do or blah, blah, blah. But that's boring. Everybody deals with it. So,
yeah.
So you ready to dig into it?
Yeah, I guess. Might as well. See what
Hi
we
to
going on this
anybody in the
week.
chat. Looks like somebody's in there. Oh, it's Jay. What's up, Jay?
Hey, Jay. Whoop. There we go. Now the chat's gone. Might be able to pull up the chat with this. Let's see. Just so we don't miss anybody's.
I can still see Jay's post there.
Yeah, I just put it back. So.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But yeah, you seen the new He-Man
hell yes.
trailer? Dude.
Oh, hell yes, dude.
Each one they come out with just looks better and better and better, which usually is the opposite.
Right?
It's like, no, show me less. Show me less.
When I first heard they were doing this, I was going to be like, "Oh God, please don't be like the one in the '80s where they made the whole thing on Earth and it was just weird." But
See,
yeah,
but I
that's
didn't
one.
hate that one.
I didn't hate it either, but it was just weird.
I was too young to know any better either. So
You weren't even
it was
born
just
yet,
like,
probably.
oh,
Damn kid.
yeah, it was when the movie was out. When the TV show was out, no, I wasn't. That was before me.
I'm just messing with you.
Just missed that one.
And everybody was freaking out about what's his face playing Skeletor, but from what we've seen and now we got to hearing talk, it sounds good to me.
Yeah, because like Jay said, I was kind of wanting a little bit of the whininess to the voice, but maybe, and here's my kind of theory on that. What if while they're fighting, he hits him so damn hard that he just gets into a whiny voice for a second and then snaps out of it like the Cable Guy moment?
Awesome.
Like, my lisp is gone. Steven?
or at the end he comes on like those little memes. Remember, next
Right.
the next
Or
movie is 2 years away.
That's the end credit scene.
Until
Until next time.
Yep. That would be awesome. No, but everything about this looks cool. Even Cringer looked cool. We haven't got to really see him as Battle Cat yet, have we? Or did I miss it?
I don't think so.
I didn't think so either.
I think they did show stills of Skeletor on I forget the name of his Panther, maybe something Panther.
I think it's Panther, if I remember
maybe.
correctly. Oh.
But otherwise I don't think we've seen Battle Cat. Just
right.
yeah, and then seen, unless that's who's in the little MGM one, but he didn't have any armor on. So
they did show us some new characters though, like Lockjaw and a couple of the other villains that I remember from my toy line.
Right.
I remember them more for the toys I played with than the cartoon, but don't get me wrong, I loved the cartoon when I was a kid, and I still watch it today if it was on.
Well, and what's the witch's name? I forget her name.
Oh,
but she's being played by Anna de Armas in the live action.
Evelyn.
Yes, there you go.
Evelyn. You and your pop trivia questions.
I know. My bad.
Yeah, we got to see her up close. The whole thing sounds cool. I mean, it looks like they're going to go get him off of Earth and bring him back to Eternia, and he's going to discover how to use the sword and all that stuff.
Right. And
it looks so
comedic,
cool.
The little comedic parts that they're playing on when he's at Earth. I'm down for that. It's subtle.
They still haven't teased us an Orko yet, but I'm holding hopes that we're going to get an Orko. But yeah, from what I've seen, I'm this movie and Mortal Kombat 2 are the two of them that I'm looking forward to the most that aren't on a lot of people's radar. Everybody's worried about Spider-Man and Supergirl and all that, which, I'm going to see those too. But dude, this Masters of the Universe and that Mortal Kombat Part 2, oh my gosh, they give me the goosebumps like I was hoping the Supergirl trailer would, but didn't.
Yeah.
These two have. I'm really looking forward to them.
Oh, it's Alison Brie, not Anna de Armas.
Oh, okay.
But it's such a quick glance, and I think
you're talking about Evelyn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I haven't seen her in anything in a little while. Alison Brie.
All right.
She was in Community, and then she was also in that Glow show, which that was a really good show too. If you've never checked that one out, that one's pretty funny.
What's that about? Never heard of it.
The Glorious Ladies of Wrestling.
Oh, that was actually a wrestling show when I was a kid. It was on like Friday nights at midnight.
That's what it's based on.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I want to watch that now because I can remember as a kid sneaking out to watch the girls wrestle in bikinis.
Right. So this is basically behind the scenes with a little bit of, they change some of it, of course, just like they do in any biopic. But for the most part, it's pretty, most of the characters are in there, but it's a great show.
Where's that playing?
I think that's on Netflix.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll check that out for sure. You got me
Yep.
hooked.
Yeah, I think Mark Maron is the coach or whatever, the guy behind the scenes, the organizer of it. But it's good, man. It's funny. Like me and her watched it, and I think you would actually probably be. That's one that you could watch with Amy
Is this
for
like a
sure.
season 1 type thing, or what are we
I
talking?
think there's 2 seasons,
Okay.
maybe 3, but it's a quick watch. It's maybe a weekend or two.
So like 6, 8
Or
episodes or something per season?
yeah, I want to say it's 8, maybe
Okay.
10, because I know Netflix, some of their shows are 10 episode runs,
Got
some
you.
of their seasons, but it's a good one.
Yeah. I'll check that one out for sure.
Yep.
Okay, what we got
So we'll
next?
move on to the next one. One that I actually came across today. Didn't even know that it was happening. But new Darth Maul, new Star Wars animated stuff on Disney Plus. It's going to be awesome because their animated stuff is like DC animated stuff. It doesn't strike out. I have not seen any of the animated stuff that I have not liked. I love the Bad Batch that they came out with. That was the most recent one. But they also did like Tales of the Empire and Tales of the Jedi, I believe, to where you kind of get backstories of some of these other characters that have been kind of introduced in like the Ahsoka series and stuff. So you get a lot of their like origin stories in those in an animated format, but done the same as Rebels or Clone Wars. And this one looks like it's basically continuing on and giving you the story that happened between Star Wars Rebels and when he actually meets up with Kenobi at the end of Rebels. So like there's a time jump in there that happens just kind of to give you a forward and a ending for Maul and kind of show you how things ended for him. In the Rebels show they did that. But this basically takes place in between after, or maybe this is going to take place in between the Clone Wars and the Rebels show. That would actually make more sense because of how the Clone Wars extra season that they did, because they did that one 7th season, I believe, of the Clone Wars on Disney Plus, and it was great. Literally one of the best lightsaber battles, and I know it's animated, but it was all based on motion capture. And you had Ahsoka and Darth Maul going at it, and it is one of the best choreographed or whatever, just fight scenes with lightsabers. It's nuts. Really, really good. And the previews to this looks like it's going to carry right on with all of that.
Yep, I've never watched any of the animated Star Wars stuff, so I'm like
They're so great.
way behind off that stuff. But that trailer you sent me to watch earlier, that did look really good. And I was actually impressed by the scenery in the background. I'm like, if I didn't know better, I wouldn't know this was a cartoon because it looked that good.
Yeah, for the most part, like most of the actual 3D rendering that they do for the entire the Clone Wars was a little bit, I want to say the Clone Wars and Rebels, they had their own little, differences, but then they kind of tweaked it and kind of did a better blend for the reboot for the 7th season of Clone Wars. And they kind of tweaked that and then ran with that. And they've been doing that for the Bad Batch, and it just looks better. It looks more natural. And then, like you said, the sceneries just look better, and it doesn't look so 3D rendered, so to say.
That one scene where the Star Destroyer is like hovering over a city, that looked like something that could have been right out of a movie. If you hadn't told me that was animated, I don't know that I would have known that was animated. It looked really good.
Yeah, a lot of the space scenes definitely look like they are from the movies because of how much CGI they use in the later stuff,
And
but
although it was brief, I was impressed with the little bit of lightsaber action that they showed in the trailer.
Yeah, they do really good with these animated shows. And you got the guy that does the voice for it, Sam Witwer. So he does the voice for, if you've ever seen the Star Wars Unleashed video games, where it's basically Darth Vader's apprentice. That's where he started, got into the Star Wars scene. He did the voice for that. And once they realized how he was approaching that character, they kind of took him on as a consultant for a lot of the other Star Wars stuff. And so he's been voices for a lot of different characters, including Darth Maul, Starkiller, character I was just talking about in the video games. And then he also did one of the voice characters for the Ahsoka show. He was one of the Inquisitors. But there's also rumors about him possibly playing the son when it comes to the I forget what the hell it's called, but it's basically the Force. There's it, and it goes along with the shows, and it's going to be carried on in actually the Ahsoka series, to where you have the father, the daughter, and the son. And the father, basically the balance between the two sides, and the son is basically the epitome of the dark side, and the daughter is the epitome of light. And they're kind of saying that those characters have kind of been rebranded, like Darth Vader is more of the father of the Force, and then Ahsoka is essentially supposed to be the representation of the light side to that. And then that's what Baylan Skoll was basically after in the Ahsoka show, whenever he was going off towards the big statues and stuff, and they actually show the father and I think the two children in the statues on the show.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I could go deep into this lore, obviously.
Would this be, do you think this would be a good one for me to jump in on, or should I jump in on something else?
You could probably, did you watch the Ahsoka show on Disney Plus?
Absolutely. Okay. Loved it too.
You can watch probably the 7th season, and I know this is probably, aggravate a lot of people saying, no, you gotta watch it all, but you probably could watch just the 7th season of and get the gist of what they're probably going to be doing here.
Your mic blipped out. I heard 7th season of, and then I couldn't hear what you said.
7th season of Clone Wars. Sorry.
Clone Wars. Okay, no worries. No worries, it happens.
But there's also another, you can look up watch orders and stuff where you only look at, like, they have this character's episodes that they appeared, so you can kind of watch their storyline to get caught up, so to say, so where you don't have to watch the whole Clone Wars series unless you wanted to. But like you can do that for the Mandalorian show, the Ahsoka show, and it's like a much more condensed way to catch up on those characters to get up on these shows. But you probably could jump in this, and they'll probably give you a little, recap in the beginning of it.
This one here might get me to do it, because from what I saw today, it looked really cool, and it looked, didn't look kiddified, and I think it even said TV mature or something.
Yep, because they, just like the originals, to where you expected people to die, essentially, that's, people aren't safe in these shows either. Like, there was deaths, a lot of them, in the animated stuff, to where it wasn't Disney-fied. Like, this is the only thing that still feels like Lucasfilm, is the animated stuff. Whereas the newer shows of Mandalorian and Ahsoka, while they're great, they're definitely still liable and kind of on the, teetering back and forth with a lot of the different, fans and audience and stuff. People like it or they don't.
So what's going on in the chat? I'm trying to see here. Looks like it's still Jay. Loves those games. He voiced the Emperor in that game. The Furious, I did see that trailer, but I haven't seen the Raid movies, but I did see the Furious movie or trailer. I can't read the rest of it because it's on our white sign.
Yeah, no, that's a bad choice there. Let's see if we can move that over, actually. Powers.
Whoa, dude. Sure. Oh, yeah, Cringer in the MGM logo. That was brilliant, Jay. Yes, I agree with you.
And the funny thing is, I didn't even notice that until Jay mentioned it in his reaction. I was like, well, was it really? And I had to scroll back and I go, oh, sure enough. Look at that. That's cool.
That's okay. In my rewatch of Superman and Lois, which I'll be talking about in a little bit, I never noticed that they changed the S on Smallville on the water tank to the Superman shield. the first time I saw it. I was like, oh, look, they changed that. And Amy was like, how did we not notice? I'm like, I don't know. She didn't notice either. But yeah, it's
That's
cool.
what I
when they
love
do
about
stuff like that.
rewatching stuff.
Yep.
I guess we'll move on to the next one because I'll keep talking Star Wars forever if you let me.
Dude, talk away, man.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, brand new day.
So what are your, I know you had mixed feelings about this trailer, but was it more to do with just the costume?
That was part of it, was the costume. The other part of it was, it didn't, don't get me wrong, I love Spider-Man. I'm gonna see this movie multiple times, I'm sure. But it just didn't give me that wow factor. It came in and it looks like it's gonna be like a slow burn, like there wasn't a certain scene that gave me like goose flesh or anything like that. And yeah, I was disappointed that possibly the suit has changed, but I'm gonna have to get over that, like Jay did with Superman.
Right.
But there's nothing about it that's not making me want to see it. I haven't had that wow factor yet from what I've seen, but I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah, I think I still stand behind the theory of, I think we're going to get a big old montage of him kicking ass for like a year or so, or a couple of years, maybe,
I hope so.
That's what happens to the other suit, to whereas the main bulk of what you're seeing with the new suit and stuff is the rest of the movie, but that at least would explain why he switched from the other suit.
Nothing would make me happier if you're correct, because I would love to see that suit for more than that 2 minutes at the end of No Way Home.
Because I think I seen Scorpion, Tarantula, well, probably not Punisher, but I mean, it looks like there was going to be multiple people, and I can't see them doing another iteration of like Spider-Man 3 that turned into a nightmare by having too many villains.
Oh God, I hope not.
To where I don't think they're going to do that just yet. They're probably going to build up, and they're going to do a Sinister Six movie. Sony's been wanting to do one of those forever. They've been hinting all over the place about all those people, and they almost got all of them on there on screen with Tobey Maguire, because I think Mysterio and Craven were the only two that weren't on there. But technically, you met Quentin Beck with Bruce Campbell's character, the guy in the elevator, and then the doorman in the second movie. That was supposed to be Quentin Beck.
Okay.
It was supposed to be. And then that's what, like Spider-Man 4, all the supposed, scripts that didn't happen or whatever, because I think Sam Raimi wanted to do a fourth one, and that was going to be part of it, was Mysterio, and he's been behind the scenes the whole time, but, hiding in plain sight kind of thing.
A couple other things that are curious is that they showed us that Dr. Banner's going to be in it, and it looks like he's going to take the place of Dr. Connors, where he's trying to help Spidey cure his, for lack of a better word, mutation into the man spider, I think is what they called it in the comic, if I remember right. But as his powers are changing, and they kind of hint that he was in a cocoon and was coming out of it, and all of a sudden he didn't have a web shooter on, but we saw webbing come out. So they're hinting towards, maybe biological webbing, but then at the same time, it could be silk. So who knows? So much speculation, but so far it's just been a little taste and a ton of speculation.
Right. That's what it was. Vulture was going to be the other villain in there, and I think it was supposed to be John Malkovich was going to be who was going to play the Vulture. But
I actually
that was abandoned.
I like the Vulture we got. I thought he did a really good job with that Keaton. I really liked him as Vulture. Did I lose you? Are you gone? You got really quiet, brother. Uh-oh. I think Nope is having a malfunction.
Technical difficulty.
Oh,
I'm back.
I heard technical difficulty. Are you back?
I think so.
Hey, you're back. Welcome back.
Oh, weird.
It's a brand new day. Welcome back. Do you want to show that next slide and talk about your little conspiracy theory theft?
Well, I feel like I've talked about this before too, but here's a over-under of what I think, and I wasn't the first one to think of this, obviously, but just like the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man of recent, they had the same thing going on with the lizard, to where it looked like he was getting kicked or whatever or something, and they're saying the same thing with this, to where if you like look at these arrows in the circles, their sight lines line up as if there's more characters in the shot, but they've just been digitally altered and stuff to be not in there. So
could very well be. And I do notice that in that picture too, the suit is more to what I was liking, so that bodes well to what maybe you said.
Right.
That maybe his suit gets ripped up and could be fighting these people.
Or
get a new one, or who knows?
Or maybe the end of Nowhere Home or No Way Home, when he jumps off the building at the end, that's a flash forward as it is, and that's after everything that happened in this movie. To where it ends with him in that suit again, maybe.
I'll take it as long as I get the suit, because that suit was like, it was so comic book goodness. It was my childhood, man. That was Gil Kane Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I was so looking forward to it. And then when they let that first teaser out, I'm like, that's not Gil Kane Spider-Man. But either way,
where did it go?
Yeah. Whatever they do with it, I'm sure I'm going to like it. I haven't hated a Spider-Man movie yet. My least favorite is Spider-Man 3, where they bastardized Venom, but
right. And then
I'll still watch it. It's just my least favorite. So who do you think it might be? Because you notice they showed Banner. Oh, do you? So you think maybe Daredevil and Silk?
Well, I know they're trying to downplay it, and Charlie Cox has said, he's not doing, he's not going to be in it, and blah, blah, blah. But of course, he's going to say that shit.
Right.
But, in my opinion, you got the Hand right there. If you're going to introduce the Hand in the movies, why are you going to introduce them and not have Daredevil?
Right.
It just makes no sense.
And Daredevil did make an appearance in a Spider-Man movie already.
Right, exactly. So that wouldn't be so strange to see him in a secondary one, because they're starting to mix in more of the New York characters as little B-roll characters like in The Punisher.
So we saw Banner. Do you think we're going to get Hulk?
I blipped out again, didn't
I? No, you're good. You just popped us back on screen though.
Yeah.
By accident. No, you're good. I've been hearing you. You were working.
Wait, it was telling me that I lost connection. So okay,
no.
whichever.
No, you're good.
But no, if Daredevil hadn't been in the last movie, I would say that maybe that there's no, maybe he's not actually going to be in there. But the fact that his show is going on right now, and will probably be done by the time this is kind of coming to theaters, maybe a month in between.
Right.
So possibly what happens at the end of Daredevil this season will lead into the events of this movie. And they're finally doing a cohesive movie to TV show transition and actually acknowledging each other.
Could be.
Versus just hinting that the other thing might happen, or calling it something else, like the event versus the invasion. Chari evasion, but it was the incident in the Shield show,
Right. I asked you this, but you didn't hear me because you faded out. So we saw Banner. Do you think we're going to get a Hulk? And do you think he's going to be a good Hulk, or do you think that Punisher and Spidey are going to have to tame Hulk somehow?
Well, I think we might get more of kind of what happened in Age of Ultron when the Scarlet Witch came about. And she manipulated and kind of turned him into the Savage Hulk. When he went crazy and destroyed was it Uganda or something? One of the over there. But I think with Jean Grey's character possibly being in this, that could be how that happens.
Could be.
Or he just pops up because, something else needs help, whatever. And that could be the third person down in there.
I'm also wondering if,
But maybe not.
since we recall that Banner and Hulk had been divided and Hulk wouldn't come out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if when they did the spell so that everyone forgot about Peter, did Dr. Banner forget about him? We know that because he asked what his name was. But does Hulk remember him?
Possibly, because if Banner would have forgotten, then that would have kind of undone all their little working together, him and Hulk, and working on their issues to basically become Professor Hulk past that point.
Right.
But if one of you don't have a complete set of memories, now you're going to be back at each other's, at ends with each other, at odds, because you don't agree on everything.
Right.
And so I could see Hulk being like, no, you stupid, Hulk remembers or whatever, maybe.
Why Peter attack Hulk or something like that. Yeah.
Something.
It'll be fun to see what they do with it. It's always fun to speculate, and then rarely are we right, but it's still fun.
Yeah, because he also has a weird look on his face. I don't know if that's just Ruffalo himself, but whenever he walks up to him and he says Dr. Banner, he's got just this weird look on his face. So maybe he's under control of Jean Grey at that point, maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
Because at least if they're right with their theories anyways, saying that the little body hopping that's going on in the trailer, if that is Jean Grey or something, then maybe that's where it winds up.
Right. Could be.
Because they all share that similar kind of weird face.
This comes out, what, July something, right?
July 31st, I think.
Oh, wow. So really?
Yep.
Cool.
July 31st. Exclusively in movie theaters.
Until it gets leaked. Cool.
Well, I'm sure they'll still probably keep it in theaters because they still don't make any money putting on the streaming services. But anybody who's going to go and pay for it won't if it does drop on there. So,
right.
Not familiar with Mr. Negative, but he can body hop.
Yeah, I've heard some talk about Mr. Negative might being in it too.
So, yeah, see, and
everybody has a theory.
Right, and I don't think that everybody's just going to sit there and pick up that, oh, that's Jean Grey, she's body hopping. Like, how have we figured this thing out already? It can't be that predictable. Come on.
Right. The scene that I find most intriguing is when they zoom in on Peter and he has black eyes. Does that mean that he is morphing into Man Spider, or does that mean that little blob of symbiote found him?
Was that during the cocoon phase?
I don't know. It just kind of flashes around, and there's one scene where it shows Peter up close, and his eyes are all black. There's no white. And they don't explain it. They don't even really talk about it. They're just like, it's here if you notice it. If you don't notice it, you don't notice it.
Wouldn't that be cool if they were digitally hiding the symbiote stuff going on? Like that little prison scene where it breaks their weapon and stuff with their with the webbing. Like maybe that's something else going on there.
I was wondering about that too.
But then again, you might be right about the 6 arms. Because I've been seeing other people having that theory too. So
if they go that route, I hope they're careful because that could get really silly really fast. But it'll be interesting. They got me curious.
Move past that point. Talk about your little journey you've been on.
Yeah, so my wife and I both like Superman and Lois. and we binge watched it a year or so ago, and we decided to start watching it again for lack of anything else. And I'm so glad we did. We're both still really having a lot of fun. And the second time through, um, I'm noticing things that I didn't notice the first time. Like a certain one of the characters has an affair, and the mayor drops a hint that he knows that he's having an affair. But the first time through, you didn't know it. But the second time through, you're like, oh, now I get why he gave him that weird look. Now he knows he's in on the affair. And then there was another scene where after Superman saves the day again in Smallville, where they show the Smallville water tower, and the S has been changed from an S to the Superman symbol. Neither one of us noticed that the first time. And it's just fun to rewatch a show when this time, you know what the main points are, so you can like let your eyes wander and see what you might notice that you missed before. And it's been fun rewatching it. We've already gotten through season 1 and season 2. We finished season 2 last night, and we're both digging the journey again. So, folks, if you haven't seen it, give it a try. If you have seen it, give it a rewatch because it's a lot of fun. You liked this one, didn't you? Nope. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I really liked how that. Nope, I had myself muted, so I wasn't coughing over you. No, I watched this one just by myself, but I'm actually thinking about turning her on to this one because she liked all the Arrowverse shows, and I know this one isn't actually a part of that, but it is in a sense, kind of.
Yeah, because it introduces you to the Superman and Lois.
Right, that's where you first see Tyler Hoechlin's Superman. But this is supposed to be actually a separate universe even than that. So,
but is it? Because that's another thing I noticed is while we were doing the rewatch that Lois says before they know anything, well, Clark, with everything we know about the multiverse now, and that made me think of the Arrow stuff. So I'm like,
Well, and I'm trying to remember how it actually happened in the Arrowverse shows, because there was a bad Superman that they had in there too. So there was a few different Supermen that they were bringing in right there at the end during the whole crossover, amongst all the shows. Because then you got the Brendan Routh Kingdom Come version of Superman came back, and that was a funny episode because you had Brendan Routh as the Atom on Legends of Tomorrow, so he was playing two characters in the same show, and being Brandon Routh about it. It was funny. It was so funny to watch those episodes. But
I really liked the one where he found the Smallville Superman and he had given up his powers.
Yep.
And he's like, I thought you gave up your powers, because he kicks his ass. He's like, I did, but I'm still stronger than you are. I loved that.
Right, because it's John Cryer, Lex Luthor,
That was great.
Yeah, because I think they actually looped in all of the DC anything that's been out there, because they kind of just called them by their year. So like Batman 89 was on Earth 89 or something like that. And then like the Batman or Smallville, I think, was like Earth 20, whatever the years were for it. So it was, identifiable, and you could tell that a lot of them, whenever they would tease those universes and stuff, you could tell that they were actors from those original shows. Like the one detective that plays not the bad detective in 89, the Batman 89, but the good one. He's sitting on a bench, and sees the bat symbol in the background as they show the 89 whatever. Having the spoilers for what?
Superman and Lois, I think he's talking about. Yeah,
no, that's Jenna.
Oh, is it Jenna? I can't see it. It's so tiny. I can't see it. So,
hey, Jenna.
I don't want to hear that's what she said thing either.
But he's so small.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, this series also brought me my first live action Bizarro. And Bizarro has always been one of my favorite DC characters that gets very little play. I mean, he hasn't been in any of the movies or anything yet, but he was in this show, so that got me excited. And we'll be
Yeah, it was
talking
almost
about
like the
Bizarro a
entire
little bit
season
more.
too.
Yeah, it was. And well, actually 2 whole seasons if
Was
you
it?
think
Or
about it.
into the third one?
No,
Wasn't it? No?
no, it kind of ends in season 2, but then if you remember, Lex Luthor brings him back in
Yeah,
season
that's right.
4.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
and not to mention Lex Luthor. Oh, what a great job. I can't think of his name right now, but the guy that played Abraham on The Walking Dead, what a fantastic Lex Luthor.
Yep. He did real good.
And Tyler Hoechlin is my favorite Clark Kent out of any of them. I just love how they had him interacting with the people and his own family. And even though the last episode is a tearjerker, I liked how they brought an end to it. I really did. When I first saw it, I was like, "What?" But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, "This is a fitting end. It's for this story. That's a fitting end." But I still wish we'd have got more seasons.
Michael Cudlitz.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice
Jay's
Jay.
probably chomping at the bit, like, "You guys are screwing it up. I need to come on here and set you straight."
Like, I didn't have to work soon. Oh, I get you.
Right. Yeah, we'll be starting season 3 probably sometime this weekend if we get a free time, or maybe even later tonight. Who knows? But we're both digging the rewatch, loving it. Can't wait to see what I notice going forward, because, like I said, we've noticed some things we missed the first time.
Man, Cudlitz doesn't even come in until like mid to late second season, isn't it?
It might be the season finale of season 3 when he comes in.
Or 2.
He hasn't come in.
3.
No, we finished 2. He didn't show up.
Is there 4 seasons of that?
Yeah, the 4th season is the
Okay.
final season.
I thought there was only 3. Never mind.
And it might not be the season 3 finale, but I know it's close to the season 3 finale is when we learn that he's Lex. Because remember, it's the other guy from The Walking Dead. Tyrese is the big bad for most of season 3, him and his wife. Because he's got his wife that he's trying to cure her of cancer, and he ended up giving her powers that when she screams, everything explodes around them and stuff. But it's a good watch if you haven't seen it. I'm trying not to spoil too much, but it's over. It's been like 4 years since it came out, so maybe even longer now, 5 or 6.
Yeah, because I forgot about his brother in there, all that stuff.
I love his brother, Tauro. Man, he's awesome. I wish they would have left him in there. Yes, I loved his character. And at the end of season 2, he ends up going over to Bizarro World to be their new hero, which absolutely cracked me up.
Speaking of Bizarro.
Oh, yes. Comic goodness. When I heard there was going to be a Bizarro book, and I heard that it was going to be written by Kevin Smith, I got so excited. So let me just start with, like I just said, it's called Bizarro Year None, and it's written by Kevin Smith. Art's by Nick Patera. It's going to be a 4-issue limited series, kind of like he did with the Masters of the Universe Revelations. If you haven't read that, people, it's excellent, fantastic. I love it. The cartoon they made of it is also very good. Couldn't recommend that highly enough. But Kevin Smith takes a serious twist and re-image of Superman's popular doppelganger Bizarro. And it was not what I was expecting. It's only been 1 issue. I'm not throwing hate on it. It's just not what I was expecting. It's different. The story kicks off. We're at the Daily Planet, or you see the Daily Planet falling in space. It's like a issue of the newspaper, and it lands on this planet at the feet of someone. And the whole time this is going on, they have verses in the different panels that say, "In the beginning, let there be light." So you're like, what? Why are they quoting Genesis? Well, then it skips to our world, And this story is also kind of an origin story for Jimmy Olsen, because he's just the donut boy right now. And he's trying to become a photographer or a reporter. He wants to do something more than fetch donuts. So he's hounding Perry White, and Perry White's like, so you don't want to just be the donut boy anymore, huh? You think this is an easy business? And they kind of start chatting it up a bit on one of those outdoor elevators, the kind that go up and down on the outside of the building. That's glass.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then it breaks, and at the same time, there's a Professor Dalton that's testing his new duplicator ray. But it malfunctions, and it opens up some kind of a portal, and they don't know what the portal is. But then all of a sudden, you see Superman fly out of the portal, go to the Daily Planet, grab the cabling from the elevator, tear it off the building, and fly back through the portal with Jimmy and Perry in there. And you're like, wait a minute, what was that? Well, it wasn't Superman. So the portal leads to the mirror dimension. And in this new mirror dimension, the Daily Planet is actually worshipped like it's some kind of a sacred relic. So that took us back to the beginning with the issue of the newspaper floating in space, and Bizarro found it. And he made a religion around it. I know, sounds really, really weird. It really does. But so Jimmy and Perry immediately encounter a darker, unsettling version of Bizarro. And his suit looks just like Superman. The S isn't backwards, but you can tell that he made it himself because it's poorly stitched. And they make it a point to show you that his suit is poorly stitched, if you get what I mean. And you immediately, after you're reading it, you're like, okay, is this going to be like the backward, malevolent, crazy Bizarro that we're used to? Or is this going to be something different? And it makes you wonder, is Bizarro a force of chaos in this world? Or is he simply just a fan of Superman? And I loved this panel. And there you can kind of see the stitching on the suit. And he's like, oh, shucks, Mr. White, I'm not Superman. I'm just a big fan. So it kind of makes you wonder where they're going to go with it. The story itself was very character driven, which I like. And it also had some humor and a lot of weirdness and a lot of intrigue in it. So I don't know where they're going to go with it. I hope it's good, and I hope he doesn't. By he, I mean Kevin Smith. I hope he doesn't take it the way of Clerks and try to make it too funny, because that could be bad. And I do hope that he brings a little bit of the Bizarro we know into this, because right now he's just kind of a goofy, gumbly, and when you go into Bizarro's home, he takes Perry and Jimmy into his home, and he's got like these glass pane issues of the Daily Planet that he found in space, and he's got a model of Metropolis, and they worship him like there's some kind of relic. It's just bizarre, and I pun intended. I don't want to say too much more about what happens and spoil the storyline, but one thing I do want to say, and you could kind of tell it from that picture, the art in it is really different. It reminds me a lot of Robert Crumb books, if y'all are familiar with Crumb, where most people have like stubbled beards and they're over exaggerated body built. That's what the art really reminded me of. Overall, though, it was a really fun read. Like I said, it was not what I was expecting, and we'll see where it goes. I'm going to keep reading it just because I love Bizarro. So wherever we go on this 4-issue ride, I'm in for the ride.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give this one a try. This one looks
I
interesting.
gotta hear your
sounds
thoughts.
Interesting, however,
if
the way you were explaining it earlier too.
If you read it, you've got to share your thoughts with me. I'm dying to know what someone else thinks of this book, because it's so bizarre. Different. It really is, and that's pun intended.
Right. I think I put my book in here. Yeah. So I've actually past couple days been reading Nexus, and I came across this through Kickstarter, and so they released a omnibus recently. So it has basically a whole bunch of the volumes from back in the day, if not the complete volume, but they number it. So I'm assuming that they're going to come out with more omnibuses. But this one it's awesome. So basically, he has these dreams that basically let him witness from the point of view of the person committing these actions, but like basically watches them do all these crimes and just being terrible to people and all that stuff. And basically, what he does is he goes around and he has these powers to where he's almost invulnerable, and not quite like Space Ghost, but to where there's bands or anything. I don't really understand his power yet. I'm not that far into the story to understand all that just yet, but that's the basis of what he's doing, what he's after. And so these dreams are kind of more like nightmares for him. But so once he awakens and he gets these dreams, that's basically like a sentence for that person. So once he has the dream and he knows that person, he's going after and he's taking them out. So he's like an assassin, but he gets these dreams that are like premonitions or just visions of people's, sins and tribulations, whatever you want to call it. And he goes and gets vengeance, but he's also in the process of trying to get rid of his dreams. So, some people come in and try to, you don't know whether or not they're good or bad, but, they have a way that they can fix his dreams and get rid of them and all that stuff. So, but it's got really cool art, and I actually thought it was going to be a colored thing, but naturally I always find things out that way. But this was like one of the covers. I don't know if it was made exclusively for the the omnibus or if it was part of the original covers and all that, but I believe it's the original artist who did that. And then a couple more. And then the first one that I had there, that was like the exclusive Kickstarter cover, but it didn't actually have Nexus. I added that one on there. But,
see that cover there, you couldn't tell that was a lightning bolt. And my first thought was he looks an awful lot like Cyclops.
Yeah,
but now in the other one, I can see the lightning bolt.
See the lightning bolt there in his chest. Yeah, this is a cool one. I can tell this is going to be up my alley because it's totally like 80s violence and 80s kind of. It's got really awesome art. I don't want to knock it or try and downgrade it at all. It's
was it published originally in the 80s?
I believe so. I can't remember. Couldn't tell you what year it actually came out, but I keep switching over to that one. We're not there yet, man.
But, spoiling my next book.
I know.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll look at it.
I've never even heard of this one, so this is a brand new one for me.
Yeah, I'll circle back and kind of give more reviews on it as we go along too. So
yeah, for sure. Keep us informed.
So the next one on the slides, we got
oh boy,
oldie but a goodie.
This was
not
an
oldie, but
yeah, this one just came out this week. And folks, if you're a fan of Mad Magazine, you're gonna love this. I was a huge fan of Mad Magazine growing up. That was my guilty pleasure as a kid. So Mad About DC is basically Mad Magazine having fun with all of DC's characters. And believe it or not, there's 61 different satirical stories in this one issue. And if you're familiar with Mad Magazine, awesome. If you're not familiar with it, this would be a good jumping in point to introduce yourself to what Mad's all about, because you're going to know all the characters that they're making fun of. And you'll either love their satire or you'll hate their satire. But they poke fun at like the absolute line that DC's having a lot of success with. We got a picture of, if you want to pop that picture, there's their absolute Batman. So this kind of tells you, you know, the satirical, you know, stature of the book. That's their absolute Batman.
Yeah,
I
this is a
absolutely cracked up.
Scotty Young drawing too.
Right. I absolutely cracked up when I saw that.
I used to love reading those magazines growing up. I used to ride the bike up to the grocery store right there in town, and they'd have all the magazines and comics and whatever. And I'd always get the Mad magazine because that was really the only one that they had, because they didn't actually have comics there, but this was the closest thing that they had to illustrated books, you know, for teenagers or whatever, for fun. And there wasn't Reader's Digest or Cosmo or anything like that, you know. Auto Trader was the only other one that I'd try and get.
See, for some reason, that magazine got on my parents' bad side, and they trying to treat it like it was a naughty book, which just made me want to read it even more. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Which even made me want to read it more.
Yep, I'd get in trouble.
So whenever we'd go grocery shopping, I'd sneak over to the newspaper area and I'd be flipping through the latest of Mad magazine until I'd get yelled at. Yeah, I got a lot of good memories.
I can't remember his first name, but it's Newman's last
name. Alfred E. Newman.
Alfred E. Newman, that's right.
Yep. Believe it or not, there's also a board game that came out in the 80s, and that was my absolute favorite board game to play. It was so different from every other game we had, and it was so much fun. But anyway, back to this book. Like I said, they got 61 stories, so I gave you a few names here just to sell them a little bit. If you're familiar with Spy v Spy, they have one of those, except it's Guy v Spy, as in Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern. He's taken on the spy from Mad Magazine, which if you know, you know, and if you don't, here's a great way to find out. There's also one called What If Bruce Wayne Was a Big Old Scaredy Cat? There's one, this might be my favorite title, Superman's God Grade Commode. Yes, we're talking about a toilet strong enough to withstand Superman's whatever you want to call it. And another one that there's even a porta potty, a page about porta potties right next to that. It's just hilarious. And then another one of my favorite random pages that doesn't have a story is Know Your Kryptonite. And it has pictures of all these different colored kryptonites. And not to give them all away, but two of them I'll give you away, just so you have an idea of what you're going to be reading. Light brown kryptonite causes diarrhea, where dark brown kryptonite cures diarrhea. So that gives you an idea of the different powers that the kryptonites give you. But if you read this book, you're going to see a lot of familiar faces. You're going to see Plastic Man, which was a cool surprise. You're going to see a hilarious take on Solomon Grundy. And Jason Todd is known as the vote killer. If you know, you know. People voted to kill Jason Todd. And they just have so much fun with practically every DC character that's hot right now. I could not recommend highly enough, if you like comical reads, pick this one up. Give it a read. The satire is delicious. The art is hilarious. You're going to have a good time, especially if you grew up like me as a Mad Magazine freak.
Yeah, I got to check this one out for sure.
This was my pick of the week.
And I seen it coming up too, but totally forgot that it was actually coming out soon.
No, it's out. I thought for sure Bizarro would be my pick of the week, but it kind of let me down a little bit just because it's not what I was expecting. I'm going to keep my hopes up. But the Mad about DC hit it out of the park. I was laughing my ass off, literally out loud laughing while I was reading it. So give it a try.
So next, we'll jump into the next one, and I'll let you talk about it while I run to the bathroom.
Oh, yes. Alan Richson, good old Jack Reacher. As we know, last summer they announced that season 4 was going to be based on the book Gone Tomorrow. That was actually the very first short I made for our channel was talking about this. He gave out another little quick video this week stating that filming for season 4 has completed and they're in the editing phase. And he said that season 4 should be released to for us to watch soon. Now, what soon means, not 100% sure. Hoping that it's going to be this year, since it's only March and he said it's going to be soon. But as we also know, they're also working on a Neely series. So I don't know if they're going to tie season 4 and Neely together. I haven't really heard a whole lot about the Neely series yet, other than it's supposed to be happening. So if they do like a back-to-back release of Reacher and then Neely, I'll be in heaven. Because for those of you who don't know, I absolutely love Reacher. That is my favorite streaming show out there. I have rewatched the first 3 seasons at least a dozen times. I can almost
News to me.
Yeah, right. I know it is. I could almost act out the episode by just showing me a 2-second clip of it. So we got that to look forward to. And if you didn't know, Alan Ritchson has a movie that he did for Netflix.
Very recently, and I believe it's still in the top 10 on Netflix.
It is. It is still in the top 10, War Machine. I watched that last week. Loved it. Nope. You watched it too, right?
Yes. Last weekend, I believe, or one of the nights. Could have been Sunday night. But yeah, we both watched it and we really, really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah. It's basically, I refer to it as Reacher meets War of the Worlds. Because to me, that's
Plus
kind of
Predator.
what it is. Plus some Predator thrown in for sure. Yeah. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this, and it might be a little spoilery. So if you haven't seen it yet, you might want to mute us until we're done talking about it. Did you find a spoiler alert thing, or are we just going to...
Yeah. Did you want to launch right into that, or did you want to talk about it non-spoilery first? Try and
sure.
tell people, I guess, at least the premise around it.
Sure. Like I said, it was Reacher with War of the Worlds, and the reason I say this is because Richardson is in the military, and an event happens, and he had promised that he would do something with someone and become a ranger, a skilled ranger.
Right.
Well, something happens to where the other person can't do the ranger part, but Richardson, I can't keep calling him Reacher, but Richardson, wants to keep his oath and promise to become a ranger. So even though he's a well-decorated veteran, I think he has a silver star again, like he did in Reacher, and all of these other awards, he's going through ranger training, and he's one of the oldest ones there, and they're thinking of just letting him bomb out. And so you kind of think that this movie is just going to be about him trying to become a ranger. But when they're sent out on their last mission, which was just supposed to be to find an area and secure it that has been taken over by hostiles, but all they're given is like blanks. They don't have any real weapons. Right. Everything is just blanks because it's a training mission.
And then the rest
goes
haywire.
And then it goes
That's
crazy.
Probably where we'll stop talking, yeah. Because otherwise it would start to get spoilery. And
Right.
You're fine.
So here's your warning, people. If you don't want to get spoiled, mute us now, because we're going to talk into the nitty-gritty now. So while they're out on their last training mission, all of a sudden you see this craft coming that you immediately know isn't something our military has.
I don't think it was coming. I don't think it came anywhere. It was already parked there, and they assumed that that's what they were after, and they were like, "Whoa!"
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they really went all out with this,
right? Until it starts obliterating everything, and they realize right away that this isn't part of the mission, and Reacher's character, or Richson's character, goes out on a scouting and he finds the original thing that they were supposed to go and do blown all to hell. And he goes back
Now,
and he's like, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here.
let me critique that part right there.
Go ahead.
So it took him like 2-3 seconds to get to that other plane back in the woods, and then it took him like 5 whole minutes to run all the way back. And it was like, it didn't take you that long to get there. Did you forget how to get back? It's running in circles.
It's the whole portal.
I just hung on those little things like that. Right. He got placed somewhere far away.
Right.
He respawned in the wrong spot.
Well, in the meantime, very gory. I mean, members of his team are just being shredded. And that kind of does remind you of Predator, but you don't actually ever see the alien. It's just the ship. And then you find out that these ships are like all over the world, which is why I said it was more like War of the Worlds, but there's parts from all of them.
Independence Day, kind of like.
So we travel with Reacher as his team keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I know it's not Reacher, but deal with it. And do we really want to spoil it, or do we just want to stay half vague here?
We're already in it, spoiling it. So
all right. Well, Reacher figures out a weakness in the machine because he noticed that it has a vent on the top, that it has to keep venting out heat. So he lures it into...
Because he is an engineer.
Because he's an engineer with the military. So he lures it into what's basically a gravel pit and gets it stuck underneath one of those rails where the crushed gravel come out. And basically that gets into the input or the exhaust of the machine, causing it to overheat. And before it does, it like launches all these bombs out. And of course, there's a fan-damtastic scene where you got to jump in slow motion with explosions behind you and all this good stuff. And he defeated it. He actually defeated it by doing that. So then the military show up, lucky them. Now they show up. And that's where you find out that it's going on across the whole world. And the two people who wanted to blackball Reacher out of being a ranger because he was too old and beyond his years end up giving him his ranger patch so that he's an official ranger now. Right. And they debrief him on, how did you kill it? How did you destroy that one? What did you do? And this reminded me a lot of Independence Day, when they're like, spread the news across the world that this is how we take these sons of bitches down, because that's basically exactly what is said.
Right.
And the movie ends with Richson, leading this charge to these helicopters to go and attack these warships around the world and take them out. So they left it wide open for a sequel. That being said, Richson has been on a couple of interviews now where he's demanding a sequel. He wants a sequel so bad. This story isn't over. He wants to finish it. So I'm hopeful there's going to be a sequel because I really loved this movie. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, they left it wide open for the sequel for sure. And did they ever actually show whether or not there was something operating the machines or not?
No, they did not. No,
did not. Okay, because I couldn't remember if it was like if they even hinted at it, whatever. But like, do you think that they're a piloted thing, or do you think it's like a drone thing? Do you think there was just like no evidence, or they just didn't talk about that, or maybe
I'm thinking
later.
I'm thinking we're gonna find that out in the sequel if there is one, because they did show that one scene of War of the Worlds, which I thought was funny, where the arm of the alien was coming out of the ship and it had died from a germ. And so that, makes me think, okay, there has to be something inside of it. But it did show the military leaving with all the different pieces, like strapped to choppers and put on trucks and stuff. So they were going to analyze this.
That he blew up.
Right. So they're going to analyze it, but whether or not they found a body, they leave it up in the air for you to decide. And I'm just hoping that they do a sequel and that it finishes the story. Unless they want to do 3. I mean, I'd be good with that too. But the way they left it would be okay, I guess, but a little unfulfilling because you got Richson leading this charge of now Rangers because he's a Ranger, and they're going to go whoop some alien ass. And I kind of want to see him do it. So I hope he gets his wish and we get that sequel.
Yeah, it looks good, man.
How awesome would it be if
or it
the
was
alien,
good and it would be good? You got a sequel.
How awesome would it be if the alien steps out and it's Polly? Reacher Polly Part 2. For those of you not familiar with who Polly is, Reacher Season 3, he had to fight a 7'4" guy whose name was Polly. Epic fight there too. But yeah, I highly recommend this movie. It's on Netflix. It's still in their top 10 hot things to watch. So jump out there and give it a try, especially if you like Reacher. You won't be disappointed.
And turn that off. We ain't got no more.
That's the end of our slide deck, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. Well, you guys should get to look at our ugly mugs again. Hi. Well, we got our first official podcast done now. We had our intro last week.
Right.
And now
a full show number 2, but who cares?
Yeah. As our viewership grows, we'll be more than happy to have people come on and talk with us. And we got some people who are interested in being interviewed by us. So we got lots more stuff to come. But we are going to try to make this Friday thing as regular as our schedules will allow it to be. And that's all we can promise right now.
And next Friday probably won't happen because I think we're going to pick up our camper and then we got plans after that and stuff. So we might just have to skip that one at least. And then we'll see after that. But
and of course, tomorrow night it's supposed to be like 8:49 p.m. Eastern or something like that. But they came out and said the game will start 30 minutes after the Illinois-UConn game ends. So it's either going to start at 8:49 or whenever the UConn game ends, a half an hour after that. So we're going to kind of watch that first game to gauge. But we will be coming on live tomorrow night.
Yep.
Please join us and watch the game.
8:49 Eastern, 7:49 Central, ish.
Come join the fun. I'll be a raving lunatic. Nope will be laughing his ass off at me, and we'll have a good time together. So please come and join us. Final Four, baby. We win tomorrow night. We go to the championship.
On Monday.
Yep.
Such a weird day to have the championship game, but
I know. They do the same thing with the football national championship. The football national championship is on a Monday. I don't know why. It's just weird. But
play on Saturdays.
I just hope they play on Monday. That's where I'm at.
Well, even if it was a Friday, it would still make more sense because people going out and actually watching it on TV, bars, restaurants, whatever.
But if it ends up being 2 Eastern teams, so basically if Michigan wins, it'll probably start around 7:30 or 8. But if that team out west that we're playing tomorrow doesn't lose, I'm not going to jinx this, then they might start it later for those people out on the West Coast that want to watch a certain team if that certain team doesn't lose. But that certain team's going to lose. Go blue, baby. That certain team.
Go blue.
I'd love to see Michigan, UConn, or Michigan, Illinois. Michigan, Illinois would be fun because it'd be all Big Ten. And Michigan, UConn would be fun because UConn is like one of those staple basketball programs like Duke who choked their ass off and lost to UConn. If you didn't see that and you follow basketball at all Duke had to do, they had the 2-point lead with 4 seconds left on the clock. All they had to do was inbound the ball, hold on to it, get fouled, game's over. They inbound the ball, and a guy sees a Duke player wide open for a slam dunk, and decides he wants to finish on the slam dunk. Throws a pass that gets tipped up, intercepted by UConn. They grab it, launch a Hail Mary three-pointer that goes in as time expired. So if Duke hadn't been greedy and wanted to end on a slam dunk, Duke would have advanced. But that greed cost them because now it's UConn. And I laughed so hard because it wasn't us. That it was funny.
Yeah, it was
So
avoidable so bad.
All he had to do is hold on to the ball for 4 seconds, but he decided they wanted to throw that dunk, and their greed cost them the game. But tomorrow night, join me, cheer for Blue, cheer for Michigan. Come watch me make a fool out of myself. Come watch Mr. Nope laugh his ass off at me as the grading level goes up and down from G-rated to R, depending on how the game goes, and it'll be a good time.
Jay says we miss the hangout and they lose, he's going to be mildly upset.
Yeah, we're not going to lose. That other team will not win. Go Blue. Keep positive. So I think that's all we got today, folks.
Yep, I believe so. For
those that popped in and said hi, it's great seeing you. If you watch afterwards, come check us out. We're going to try to be on every Friday. We're on every game for March Madness right now, and we're also on the Hydrosylum podcast. That's every Saturday night at 9 that Jay does. So,
or at least all the Michigan games.
Yeah, at least all the Michigan games. But that's all the games because we're going to win it.
The important ones.
Right. Exactly. But great talking with you again, Nope, as always.
Yep. You too, buddy.
Until next time, everybody. We're dope. Are you dope too?
Later.